Into your just stands one mission on yes. Two members in the my church. Just here. They're here. Married. But she's got a background. What she did. So we're going to pass it off. That's it. Okay, we have no, we've already used our associate member. But we'll have to ask each applicant if they are all right with the short form today. Okay. Any amendments to the agenda? Approval amendments on previous meeting. Does everybody have a copy of those? With the idea of privileges, was that, do you have any questions? Yeah. No. Second. I mean, okay, we got one favor, signify by saying that. Question or whatever. Okay. Establish everything. Well, go ahead. I'm going to we discussed the water wells and headlines. And there was something about he has given information from water board. All water, but he already had water, it's in one part. That was very confusing. I thought it was going to get 3,000 gallon tank. Yeah, but that one last month. Oh, okay. No, I mean, he's got to deal with Upper Ark before he can put in a commercial well. Oh, okay. Oh, it's still over there. Yes.
Well, yes and no. I think we're kind of augment that until they get
Ladies Pond.
Ladies Pond approved and working. So they're going to store some water in and Ladies Pond. Then they could operate out there. But until that happens, they can't. Oh. That was one of the marks of the state or the federal term doesn't very, very, very. Yeah, up to there. That's what I had seen. Yeah, that's all here. I mean, so there's water there. Or the emergency.
But I mean, and that's all a separate piece from consumption. Okay. 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 Yeah, I'll say it. All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, old business. Continuation of the Baker special use permit. See the Bakers are here. Could you come up, please? You. We present us with any updates from last month.
Well, we did the site inspection and we did go over some of the concerns that were at the last meeting. We did show them a drawing of what we were planning to build. We talked about soundproof fencing. That's,
So we also talked about the water well, and we did a bunch of investigation on what we can and can't do with our water well. We do have the option, according to the water company, of doing an augmented plan. That would not be our first choice. We would choose to haul in water. We had talks to the local water hauler, Dave, and he would give a backup plan because we would plan to haul it ourselves. And we would have to have the receipts and proof of basically how we're using the water through the receipts and through the storage tank that would be on the property. I've done a lot of research on noise proof fencing, and there's a lot of different options from doing stiff concrete walls to wooden fences are actually considered highly effective if they're made in a so that there's no gaps or spaces in between. There's also a product called MLV, which is mass loaded vinyl. It's basically kind of a rubber component that people hang through the fences. And so you not only get noise reflectivity from the fence, but you also get dampening from deadening material. Furthering that, there's a lot of people that are building kind of like a 3-system fence where they have the exterior sidewall and then they will fill the middle area like with like carpet padding, for instance, something to absorb the noise and something on the outside, of course, to create a waterproof, noise-proof fence. I think that we're just at the point, with kind of where things are preliminarily, that we can say that any construction we do, any building we do, that noise would be the top concern.
priority.
So insulating the building, like we've talked about before, creating barrier fences, especially on like we've noted, on the western side of the yard, and noise proofing the channels as well.
Right. Anything further?
I think that everything we have is pretty well laid out as what we'd like to do.
Okay, site tour comments to the planning commission. See three that were there. Not all eight at once, people.
Are you going to make a commitment to the whatever kind of noise thing you're gonna do? And if this were to be approved, I would like to see it in writing that you're gonna haul water. Those would be, that would be a stipulation that you have to, we would have to haul water.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's we would be completely fine with
he's doing that,
stipulation.
yeah.
Fencing, you're not sure yet what kind of thing you would use.
There's so many different options and trying to figure out what our budget will be on the entire build. We're just not ready to say whether we're gonna put a solid concrete fence in, it's gonna cost $5,000 or build something else. But if the board was to figure out a way to accurately measure and, we would be, taking the noise at, that's kind of the top priority of the construction.
Yes. You tell it that. No, they can't. We can build $100,000 fence, you're not gonna want to do that. You need to find out what fence you're going to do. And then tell us, this is what you're headed down, this is what you're planning.
Okay, it would be a solid wood fencing with noise dampening material in between slats. So some people use conveyor belt material because it's rubber and absorbs the sound extremely well. And it's just a cheaper alternative to mass loaded vinyl. Mass loaded vinyl can run $15 to $30 per square foot. So it would be a solid wall fencing.
Okay, anything else from the planning commission?
Yeah. What you're building, then the reference, not where you gave something else.
And we also gave you an updated version. And they're all corresponding to the same.
It's the same thing, we just made it more professional looking than the drawing. Yeah,
This is the same drawing.
yes,
So the handwritten drawing map really just shows the interior of what we're building, and this is the full footprint of the entire building.
So this is the outside, and everything that you're showing here, this is the outside.
that's the inside of our building, so he,
There's the outside.
yes.
Yeah,
yes.
it's labeled kind of straight, so the existing building.
They're the same, it's just in that smaller drawing, he only did the kennel portion. And in the other drawing, he did the full footprint of the building.
Okay. Which one? Okay, so you got full footprint, full footprint.
Is that one?
This,
No, is that,
So this is the entire farm right here, and then this,
so,
so that's the entire full lawn. And then this small area here, which is what is here, is what we would be looking at. And then this also shows where our war rooms would be in the yard.
yeah, that's your.
And then it'll match it, so it's like, I just didn't focus in these. So it's only a small portion.
So this is what you're.
It's just this portion. This is
I'm
also.
sorry, this is what you're.
Yes,
So is this your maximum build out?
that would be the maximum.
Well, so one permit, and you're not gonna do that next year, but. Yeah.
what?
You will, so this is your ultimate build out plan.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, we also had a little test of a boys, they're women, you know.
So we had one of our members stay at the Baker's home. And all of it, energy. And then we went to various neighbors' driveways to see if we could hear it. And was it loud, was it obnoxious? So. Dorothy and I went to. Nothing out there, Dorothy. Swenson's driveway. Is that where we were? Swenson's driveway. And then the rest of the crew went to. Hubert's.
I'm not sure about their last name, they weren't an adjacent landowner.
Guzman, de Guzman, yeah,
You review and
de Guzman.
Where's going for a few?
Yes. We could hear it. It was not loud, not obnoxious. I'm sure that, we talked a little bit about it. Dirt bike, got there, and hear the dirt bikes louder than that one was. And horn is, the horn is approximately the same as what we can get it from volume. From what we can discern.
Did you have any kind of testing device?
I did, yeah, I had a decibel meter, but it was so windy that day
Oh,
that you couldn't pick it up because the ambient wind was noisy. And so, yeah, because you could hear it, but you couldn't register it, so I can't tell you how many decibels it was that person was instructed.
anything else from the planning commission?
And you stated that your property southwest of you had two massive hounds, is that correct? Is that southwest of you?
There's a property to the south that has some howling dogs that, and they
Yeah.
can hear on occasion.
Mhm.
Okay. When they're out, at night. That after 7 o'clock usually.
I haven't put an exact clock on it, it's just something you notice.
When you're hanging them,
Sure. On the application. I noticed that. Use simple documentation required to check the law, that you made evidence of the phone bond. Guaranteed public improvement. What is that for?
I'm not sure if I understood the question.
I was saying, I think the public union to check off. This, already. I put in, get more gravel.
Evidence of performance. The second going to be able to teach that. Fourth thing, yeah. Sorts of evidence of performance from guaranteed.
We don't know what that means.
Which is with.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the application has.
So, you know, the state lands needs, that's something that we use in subdivisions and evenings.
Yes,
Yeah.
but not, not which we just on them.
That's easy.
Okay, so it's not applicable to this.
No,
That is, you're wondering. Just putting it, yeah. So, you know,
I don't know what that is.
We had some help filling it out and it just, if it's not a workable one.
you know, some plan.
What do you plan on doing with dog waste? Whenever,
Oh, yeah, we have talked about it with some, I guess some of the other ones, but scooping it, putting it in a trash bag in the dumpster.
trash bag, well,
Yeah.
as everybody else does.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
so we do.
that for the dogs.
Oh, we do with that in Pueblo, and we have over 200 dogs. So
So how often do you do
all day, every day. I mean, as much as they could, you know.
that? It's not, you don't take pills on Tuesdays.
No, we clean them every single day, multiple times a day. No.
Okay, anything else on the planning commission? If not, we'll go on to public comment. Were there any further letters from that one?
There were 2 letters.
There were 2 letters from last month.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got 5 last month and 2 more, 2 additional ones. Plus the one that Swenson has.
I can't hear you guys at all. You speak up.
So Swenson wants to read more letters, and then we have 2 other emails that came through.
I didn't know we could keep asking, because we got people come in favor saying they would write us a letter, and we didn't know that it was still open for submission. But, okay.
Did you guys write letters?
I believe they got all 2 emails from us.
Then do you have your own? Do you have?
Yeah.
Okay, then you can read your emails.
Okay, do you want me to do that right now? From.
Yep. Do you want them to come up here?
Yes.
My name is Jennifer Black. We live on 2222 County Road 241. It's me and my husband and my young son, Ashton. My husband's name is Joe Black. So what I sent last night, yes, I definitely have concerns about the noise, dust being kicked up from the dirt road and landing on our property, on all the properties around us. We already have so much dust just from the wind. But every time someone drives on that road, I see dust, and which isn't very often every day, because there aren't a lot of people that live back there. But that's a legitimate concern that actually my sister mentioned it. She's like, "Why are you worried about dust?" I'm like, I didn't even think about that, because she has a house in Utah. She's from Utah, and she has a house in Idaho that has a lot of dirt that gets kicked up with ATVs going by. They have a lake house. And she has to dust it every day. She has to vacuum it every single day. And so anyways, I just think that for the record, I just wanted to throw that in there, that a concern of dust would definitely be pretty legitimate, because all of our windows are always open, you know, especially in the summertime. But to get to the realtor's letters, I was able to get letters from my past two realtors, the realtor that got me this house in Westcliff, and then one of my past realtors. They're just someone that knew me, that I felt comfortable. I could just ask them to spend some time writing a letter for me, and just told them the situation. I'll read that to you. This first one here. The first one I'm going to read is from Kevin Shaw. Oh, sorry.
Where do you live?
I'm sorry.
Where do you live?
I live somewhat close to the Swensons, just down. I'm right off of Lake Dewey's Road. I'm on 2222 County Road 241.
How far from the?
Feet, you know, foot. Yeah, feet wise, I don't know. It's not. Yeah, I did not receive a letter from planning and zoning. But I'm grateful that it came to my attention, because I hear dogs bark outside. I hear people starting up their trucks, and they're not even close to me. And just to touch on like the horn honking, I'm glad that you did that test. But what I'm thinking is, if that horn is honking all day, every day, that would be a nuisance. You know, I mean, if it's like once in a while, totally fine. I really try to be sensitive to that, and I want you guys to know, like, I own my own business. My husband does. Yeah. I actually wanted to reach out. She's always was like, I wasn't sure if it was allowed.
Go ahead.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Sorry, what'd you say?
I said, could you go ahead and finish your question?
Sorry, I don't do this every day. This is my first time. Let me read from one of the realtors, because my concern was devalue of home if we wanted to resell our home. And then once potential buyers learn that there's a dog kennel, I personally, with all due respect, I personally would never choose to live in the house that I am if I know that there's or anywhere, if there's a dog kennel that close to me. I just never would. And I've moved many times for other reasons, and that would be it would be a no-brainer for me personally. I know not for everybody. Okay, so Kevin Shaw is with Keller Williams, and he states, when an appraisal is performed on a property, whether the property is residential or commercial, a part of the appraisal process is to determine the zoning of a property. Then an appraiser determines if the zoning is considered to be a legal use, an illegal use, or a legal non-conforming use, or what also known as a grandfathered use, or if there is no zoning at all. Property values are considered and assessed in part by zoning. Value is market dependent, and each market is different. If a residential property is located in an area that is transitioning to commercial or mixed use, it could add to the value if the zoning is changed to commercial, but in most cases, it would detract from the value. A single family home typically does not want to neighbor a commercial, light commercial, or non-conforming property. Noise, traffic, parking, access, and an unsightly look of a neighboring property could all have a negative impact on a neighboring property owner's values. Zoning variances can be allowed in some cities and could be requested, but they may or may not be granted. I would hope that Westcliff commissioners would take into consideration all of the mentioned potential negative impacts before granting a variance or changing of zoning. So that's one realtor.
Was this realtor in Westcliff?
He helped us he doesn't live in Westcliff, but these realtors, they do not live in Westcliff, but they, I think that they can understand. I mean, I don't know how that would be relevant, to be honest. I mean, noise is noise. Even in the suburbs, I would not want to be next to a dog kennel. I wouldn't want to be next to a neighbor who has a barking dog all day. I wouldn't. When I came to Westcliff, when we searched everywhere in the state, we wanted to get away from noise. We wanted to get more space. We just wanted that calm and peace. We were escaping from the city. And we spent the night, a few nights, I wrote that in my letter initially, here in Westcliff, because we wanted to be sure that there weren't constant dog parking dogs, that there wasn't a lot of traffic, that there wasn't partying or whatnot. We just didn't know the area, so we wanted to get to know it a little bit, and that's what we did. We spent the night here, we walked the streets at dark. We parked outside on Lake Louise near the house that wasn't ours at the time, but we were thinking of buying it, and we sat there for a few hours and just listened to the outdoors and loved that there was just nothing throughout the day. I mean, a car driving by or a car starting up, or there's one of our neighbors, it might be you guys, but I think there's a kid that does this his motorbike, which is great. Like, I have no problems with that, but it's not all day, every day. I don't mind those sorts of things at all. It's the everyday, all day that is really concerning for me. I will read the next letter. If you want to read the next one, I'm sorry.
And I should look, where is Kevin Shaw's office located?
I think he's still in Bright, Colorado.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot of big properties up there, not like here, but he sells a lot of acreage type properties, but in the suburbs. Okay, this next one, he is located in Highlands Ranch area. Okay, his name is Jason Reynolds. Let's see, 1 second. This letter is in reference to my discussion with Joe and Jennifer Black regarding the potential indoor-outdoor dog boarding facility to be located within the residential neighborhood. Based on the type of business, estimated volume of dogs, and traffic on any given day, this operation will certainly have a direct negative impact on the resale home values and quality of life of those located within the area. I've been a broker in residential sales for over 17 years and have seen similar operations where sounds can be mitigated or controlled. The majority of home buyers will choose to look elsewhere upon discovering that there is a dog boarding facility nearby. There is reason why families such as the Blacks have chosen to live where they do. I would strongly encourage that those making such an impactful decision to consider the importance of families who have set their roots there. A place that is zoned as residential versus a true commercial location that will be just as much, that will make just as much money, if not more, for the individual in the city. Thank you.
Oh, yes, I have a question for you.
Yes.
How long is the lot we live on?
27.8, I believe.
Thank you.
Skip.
I go by there, your house, I noticed today, I think it's a little more than half a mile. I think it's more than half a mile away. It isn't. But, is there any part of our property?
I don't think our property's touched.
You don't connect.
Yeah,
There's CBO.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's the sound travels, that's the problem.
That there are pockets of sound that these neighbors that are far away, the Swensons and these got everywhere, but there's pockets of sound. Like even on my land, I can hear there's a pocket and it travels. I can hear conversations from other people's laws, FYI. But okay. That was pretty much it. But I also want you to take into consideration the dust from cars, because that does travel quite a bit with these winds that we have. I really am worried about that coming in through our windows. Thank you.
Further public comment? Yep. My wife wanted to be here today, but she is suffering over this whole mess. Is not feeling well. She's literally sick at home. She's done. Well, my file's probably got several hundred pages, and she wanted to be here, but she literally isn't feeling well because of this whole thing going on. And I'm sorry,
But then some.
Eric Swenson, and I'm next door neighbor. So, we have researched a lot, especially about animals, whether it's noise, whether it's
something that has, going to have a negative impact on our properties, which we moved here for one thing, peace, quiet, and a nice place to live without encumbrances. So I'm going to read literally what both car auto noise and any kind of nuisance actions, they're always instituted by people concerning dog kennels, rescue shelters, whatever. But it's always the desire to eliminate an unpleasant smell, sound, or other hazard that disturbs the lives of surrounding property owners, of which there are 5 of us that have all sent letters saying this isn't a good idea. As nice as they are with dogs, and I have dogs, Jen has dogs, you know, we've all had dogs, horses, whatever. And the studies that have already been done, by the way, of any kind of shelter or any kind of multiple animal use, the sound levels, and this is from one of the studies done by 2 different people in the Journal of Applied Animal Welfare Science. I gave Keith a copy of what I'm reading, and we did submit that to the Planning Commission. Sound levels in any kind of sheltered thing usually exceed 100 decibels. My understanding of Colorado noise statutes is between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. It's not supposed to be over 55 decibels or 50. Commercial, 60 or 55. And there are studies after studies after studies of what will happen. And this is 20 seconds of something recorded at a shelter. This is 20 seconds of what it will sound like. I could tell you right now, as a guy who has rescued dogs over 35 years, I don't want to hear this. I'll fight this as far as we need to fight. There are over 1,700 cases just on Justia, which is a law firm advice program. And it always starts out with excessive noise. Then it goes to all the other things that are also included. And bottom line is, when it devalues your property and it devalues and disturbs the lifestyle that you're trying to live, that is not a good thing. And I really pray that we use common sense and not set some new precedent for our county of allowing this in a residential ag zone property that's supposed to have commercial water too. That's it.
Question, how do we know that that is the actual volume? When that will.
I'll be happy to show you the source, and it's all on video, by the way. It's not really just sound, it's video. Yeah. By the way, it's also, this isn't your time to speak. That's how you always interrupt. You were easy to This isn't your,
Mr. Swenson.
so,
Speak to us.
oh, I know, but he's talking, not his turn.
Keep talking to us.
All right, so anyway, it's already been proven by studies all over the country. There are over 1,000 to 1,500 cases just in one website of people fighting against barking dogs, kennels, shelters, or things that devalue and take away from the quiet, pristine lifestyle we came here to live. There are hundreds of cases.
Yeah.
It's still. Question, how that recording was done, he said it was done in a kennel.
It's done at, I mean, watch the video if you want.
Outside was it done in the building, I had no idea.
Well, have you ever been to a kennel?
No.
Go to their kennel that's being for, isn't it for sale there? Isn't it for sale? Didn't I see it for sale?
Let's go ahead.
Whoever it was, my mom, I guess, is selling the kennel. I don't know,
Maybe come up here.
but
Oh,
there, this is what typically happens if you'd have to rescue dogs or be with dogs or spend a lot of time with dogs, like she does. She does it for a living. It's a nightmare, but there wouldn't be thousands of cases against having barking dogs, kennels, rescue in residential areas. There wouldn't be that many cases. And bottom line is even the Journal of Applied Animal Welfare Science, said about the peak noise levels regularly exceeding the measuring capability of the dosimeter that you have usually is 118.9. That's way over any kind of recommended thing. And you can't harness sound. When the dog's got to go poop and they got to go outside, they got to go outside. So that, along with the loss of value and the loss of privacy and the roads being hammered by people coming, going, it's all a bad idea.
Yeah. That's home. For the public comments.
No.
Okay. Planning commission comments, recommendation, yeah. Scary.
I have a question.
Do you want us to come back up?
No, we lived here for 8 years. We've only lived 3 at the current residence. So that wasn't the, major plan to do. I, commute to Pueblo for work.
Are you required with the planning and zoning office? Or with the coming in here at West? How did you, how do you handle this?
Prior to buying property?
Yeah.
No.
About, planning and zoning.
On that property? No, we did not. But can I make a comment on the noise thing? Because, I do work in a kennel every day of well over 200 dogs in there every single day. And, we live in a place where it butts right up against the fountain, and on the other side of the fountain is tons of homes. And we exercise the dogs during the day. We close them in at night. We put music on at night, and there's plenty of times where there is no noise. And they usually are reactive to strangers. So we can have employees and everybody walking around all day and they can be quiet. And the only time they would make noise like what he presented would be if someone came in there that they did not know. So I just wanted to add that.
Zoning resolution, 9.8 is. Open operation. And the aggravating item in there, located.
Well, but that's, that's the first person who's permit on what's.
So I was wondering why, somebody told them to do that, I guess.
When we inquired about it recently, they did, yes, yeah. But not before we bought the property, or it was not a plan.
It's 2 entrances in your house, area,
Yes,
coming from Paving Road, which is coming from 96, and then the other one's coming from 69. That 96 is kind of like a single road right here. You have to jump off for somebody to go around. Where do you foresee most of the people coming to your place, from 69 or from 96?
I think that it would be split. I think that it depends on which direction people are traveling to when they leave. If people are traveling to Pueblo like us when they're leaving, then they would probably go out towards Ed Lyons property, towards Oak Creek Grade. And if they were going back to West Cliff, they might be taking Lake Road. So I think it would be split, but I also think that the nature of this business and the size of this business is it's not going to be a high traffic business. We're looking to service clients that are bringing dogs in while they go on vacation or when they go, on their Christmas trips. And, whether that's 1 to 5 cars a day coming and leaving for drop offs or pickups, it's not going to be this mad rush of traffic all the time. It's just, there might be a little bit of traffic in the morning and a little bit in the evening or just whenever, depending on when people be picking up the animals.
How many dogs, this is, again, please? How many
Yeah.
dogs?
Our initial plan and the total plan is 12 kennels. And then the future plan could be adding 5 cabins. And those would be indoor access only cabins. So if you did like rough math of 1.5 dogs per, that could be 18 dogs with the 12 kennels started. And I think we went over that during the time it's all written out, the weight of the dog correlates to the square footage of kennel space that they're required to have. So large dogs might be only 1 per kennel, small dogs, you can have more.
Can that you work at like, what is the ratio of large dogs versus smaller dogs? Kind of a when I say large dog, like over 50 pounds.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely more larger dogs. We do have a good amount of small dogs, but even most people with might have a large dog and a small dog. I would say the majority are 50 pounds, so.
I have a question just for discussion amongst the. Well,
If somebody comes in with a couple of dogs, do you put them together in a kennel?
So how we do it now is, you can pick if you want your dogs kenneled together or separate. So you either pay for, a separate kennel or you pay an additional charge to have 2 of them in one. Is how we do it.
All of these cabins.
Cabins are just a bigger area that, we have cabins in Pueblo now, so that's why, it's something that you can charge extra for.
It's a little bit bigger, a little bit nicer, gives the dog a little bit more room for its toys and its bed.
Yeah. The biggest selling feature on our cabins now in Pueblo is that we have cameras on them, so their owners can watch them while they're there. So.
Okay, now be careful for.
For discussion, I would have never had a question. So when a stranger comes in somebody comes in to pick up a dog, will all the other dogs see that person and go anywhere?
No, that's why we have a separate office area. Yes, yeah. So pretty much like in Pueblo now, we have an area where, only staff can go unless you're, we do take people on tours, and that is when, we kind of can take them into this area where they can kind of see the accommodations, but we don't walk them up and down because it is upsetting to the dogs, and we just don't want people sticking their fingers and things like that. But no, we are the ones getting the dog from them, taking him to the location and bringing them back. So. I would want it to be as less disruptive for the animal as possible too. I mean, that matters to me. The quality of care is what is going to make the dogs happy and make all these problems a non-problem.
Yes, true.
This is for board discussion, so I don't know whether you want a motion first or whether I can bring this up.
Why don't we go ahead and have a motion first? I can make it. And I would make a motion that they recommend to the commissioners, they approve this application with the following condition. One is they have to comply with all applicable federal and state regulations.
And county. County, state, and federal.
Yes.
Okay.
They have to install, maintain a noise barrier on outside runs. They provide to the zoning office at 6-month intervals at least records of their water provider and their deliveries. And review to be on a complaint basis.
Well, second for discussion.
And then the second discussion.
So, discuss. Very good.
When I lived in Monument previously, and we were looking at a development. There were regulations regarding how much noise would escape the property boundary. This was for a, warehouse use, so we were talking about trucks. But you can regulate noise beyond their property boundary. Wonder if we want to consider something like that to keep the neighbors from being able to hear the dogs. And if they can't meet that decibel limit, then they can't have a cow.
So, how do you measure, who measures it then?
They buy wood, be a decibel meter.
Okay. How much does a decimal meter cost?
$100. Or you can get an app on your phone for free, but you have to look at the apps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not a big expense, but that's just a way that we might be able to keep the neighbors happy. Is that if you can't hear the noise, if you're going to look at a house, I'm a retired real estate appraiser.
Not the property guys.
I've already, did you just hear what I said? A retired real estate appraiser.
Or-
I'm retired,
It's an act, real estate.
okay.
He does stuff from Kenny right now.
This is discussion.
This guy, they can have 15 minutes up there, we should be able to talk. This is about impacting people's homes and lives. Now, I don't know why you're so quick to say, let's just sign off.
Then I want to say something. I've lived here 50 years.
Big deal.
Big
What does
deal.
that have to do with putting a dog kennel in a residential area?
What that have to do with, you're talking about traffic and dust?
No, we're talking about property value and noise and quality of life,
Right,
the whole thing, big picture.
right. That's all been affected. Yes,
I've lived here all my life. And I think everybody that's moved in the last 5 years has affected my quality.
Oh, yeah.
So. Same thing. We didn't say you couldn't come.
But we don't
We
move
didn't
here.
say to
Well,
us.
so this down here, I've been in Colorado since 1956, okay, I've watched what's down. And especially in cities. Where there's no controlled growth, people somehow, developers especially. And I used to coach CEOs, presidents, and people in high places, I did for a living for a long time. If we don't use common sense in some of this, it all ends up in litigation. And that is not, why would we want to open that door?
further planning commission discussion.
Commercial businesses that affect quality of life is not supposed to be the norm.
Cheryl, I like your here. If you can put some numbers on it, if you can quantify it so that the office can police it.
What does the rest of the board feel about it? What if we put a noise limit at their property boundary?
I don't think that that's everything that's going to solve the issues. The issues are you're going to have more dust on the roads because people come in traffic. You know that, that's gonna be a fact. You're also going to, whether they come in off 69 or whether, 96 probably not gonna be issued, because if they're coming from the Lions place and coming down one lane, too, so that's not gonna be an issue. Coming off 69, you are gonna get more traffic, it's just, that's going to happen, because you've got some business there. And the noise deal is just part of it. When you get into the hysteria, I mean, probably the young lady up here, Miss Black, that was filled properly. Probably they wouldn't hear if this came through, they wouldn't even hear it while they're buying it. But some can say, hey, you know, the county, they're about. That does cause some hysteria, causes assumptions, and people will not buy on that. That does happen, that's a fact. Because people are more likely to change their minds with assumption than they are fact, which is really interesting. That's what the reason why it works. That's my concern. The noise is just one of it. It's the dust, it's the hysteria of being close to a kennel, and they're really not close. If it was next door, and these were 5-acre lots, it'd be different. They're 20-something acre and 30-acre lots, leave bigger. Really, they're pretty far away, but some of them pretty close. And 2 acres as well. You can see it within distance, and there's no trees to block it. And those neighbors didn't have any issue with vector. So I mean, so the noise is just not the only thing.
No, I understand that. That was a way to try to mitigate that issue. I do wonder, for board discussion, please, where would we put a dog kennel in the county? Where would be the right place to put it?
Next to Ed's place,
Excuse me,
next to
Quiet.
You just answered.
I,
We're gonna call question. Call quick,
Call the question, please.
I did.
Okay.
Okay,
so we can't,
Do you want?
no amendment for noise mitigation?
No,
You could have
if the board can discuss it among ourselves, in this meeting. I think we should continue. If we keep getting interrupted. We need to stop and make a decision.
that's common sense.
What?
That's common sense.
What do you think? Do you agree with that?
I understand your point.
Yeah.
I understand your point. I'm looking for a middle ground to mitigate.
Well, I
Mr.
just,
Swenson, we're gonna let me finish the sentence, so I don't know what to do either. So,
I think that, we could. I would be. Amenable to. Your suggestion.
I think it's a question.
Well,
The office, we've got so much stuff going on. Didn't think about going out and checking decibels. Because
won't happen.
well, and they had something to happen. She had it done, we had a couple. This is the, that's it, system. And the problem I see with. If we do it for one. For one entity. We've got to do it for. I mean, it's gonna be a regulation, so we should open our own resolution, that's the only way it's gonna be fair.
it's a noise ordinance.
Right. I mean, and we're asked to address excessive noise. Under the special use permit, and how they're gonna mitigate that. Only. Someone was asked for some mitigation in that. All the question? Yeah.
I vote in favor of recommending commissioners approve this special use permit with the attached conditions.
Darryl,
Nay. there's too many issues here with. That is correct, if you want to cause some issues with possible land value, it could. That's hyperbole, but I think it is what it is, but it's still. The assumptions of the new buyer, yes, could be, I'm not even sure about, yes, I do, they are picking up trash. I mean, the dog poop, but their smell that still comes through those black bags. I'm just, if somebody lived in there and had 5 dogs. Those dogs are living outside, they're probably gonna bark more than what this kennel might bark as putting them inside. But I'm really concerned about the commercial side of things in the residential area, that's really the problem with each one. That way, I just think we'll want to kind of work later down the road in that particular case.
Terrible.
Sorry, but I had a thought before I can go. Do we have somewhere in this permit the hours that those dogs need to be inside? You've mentioned it, we've talked about it, but is it in here?
It's not written on the application, no. We could specify.
We should specify.
It's in their information.
But I think that needs to be an amendment to your motion that those hours that you talk about are guaranteed that those dogs are inside all in one. What are the hours that you propose?
7 to 7.
And we would be happy for discussion on that. I mean, we are happy, we're flexible.
So they can only be outside 7 in the morning to 7.
It's not like they're gonna be outside all the time. I mean, we rotate them.
Yeah. I don't know how to do this, since we've already got 2 votes, are you willing to go back and entertain and amend this to the motions that calls for that to be part of this?
I think
Without finish out, without finish out.
it is our goal. You make a second motion to add that.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. And yes, to recommend commissioners, I think that they are doing their best to offer not only service to this community that we need, but to mitigate as much as they can the impacts.
Okay.
No. I just think it's a better place. Like Ed Ryan's. Area. I live in an area. Not too far from, and our neighbors have dog. And it's been trouble. Well, but I. We have to keep our windows closed. So I think you have good intentions. It's kind of selfish, because they go.
I think that he is, attempt has been made to mitigate all the noise at night. I mean, the dog training hours, you're selling when the dogs are outside, the rest of the time they're inside. Never hear them. Bring up, the state regulations that are pretty strict.
Yeah.
All of them state regulations. They in favor by the state.
Here it is, very good.
The
carrier.
Yes. Very cheap.
No, because it's already here, we'll leave this families. I'd like to make a secondary motion that part of this approval recommendation include the hours, environmental liability. That's pretty. And then, I wanna say the hours, okay, whatever it has, does 8 to 6 make any sense to you, or is that too restrictive?
I would rather do 7 to 6, just because the dogs want to go outside to go potty, simply for the quality of their stay. For me to force them to stay inside their enclosure to pee and poop in it and step in it for that long, I don't like that type of care.
From 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sure. So because the only time they're allowed outside, you want it to also.
Okay, so now, one more time, please.
Mine and hers,
Yes,
that they have to comply with all applicable county, state, and federal regulations. That they have to install and maintain noise barrier on the outside. Kennels,
okay, yeah. Okay.
they provide to the zoning office, at least a 6-month interval. Records of their water provider and their deliveries,
Okay,
and we review on a complaint basis.
okay,
And the dog operating hours for outside dogs. For dogs being outside
yes.
will be 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
And you've got a motion set, okay,
I have a motion on this.
yeah,
Just give you guys a second for the
yes, let's get it.
Thank you.
Okay. Call it. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. Karen,
Yes.
Sarah,
We going to the new amendment, yes.
Skip. Yes. Bill.
Yes.
I will vote yes. I believe that's a word leaving application. Okay. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda, your own business. Board of County Commissioners workshop regarding the zoning resolution recommendations.
I have not been able to get that scheduled as of yet, but I will send something out to you all when I do that.
You're the next meeting schedule,
Say that again.
when's the next meeting schedule?
Our next meeting, the planning commission,
Is that the next?
September 11th. Other than Labor Day holiday.
Okay. One new business. The non-carried short-term rental permit here is sold one.
Sure. You can just. Hi.
Sure.
Annie Hunt.
You're the property owns.
I am.
Okay, use your presentation.
My presentation, I didn't get a presentation.
Well,
I live on a ranch, I have a, oh. 160 very quiet, very curious, very gentle, fiber producing animals. It's been a part of my mission actually to educate. Visitors, people here, people from out of town. I've been doing tours for about 4 months now. And it is amazing to me actually how little people really understand what it is to actually be a rancher. They think it's all cute little babies and. Um, anyway, so the short-term rental opportunity for me is, being able to bring in folks for longer term stays so they can have a deeper experience of the ranch. I'm not looking to do a high rotation of people. I would rather have longer stays and less frequency. I will live right next door. There's the main house, which has an attached garage area, which I converted when I bought the property. There are no shenanigans allowed, no open fires, no shooting in the backyard of motorcycles and wheelies and all that thing. I don't really have any immediate physical neighbors. So that is my presentation, I guess.
Letters,
No.
public comment.
Get along with Montana?
Say it again.
Do you get along with Montana?
We are cordial.
Good.
We're cordial. It took a while. No, I actually love the guys over there.
We're never producing in.
Alpacas, and actually I have merino sheep, and I can't say that they're quiet actually, but only at feeding time. Yeah. Yeah, 144 as of 2 days ago, alpacas and 19 merinos. I'll probably be down to 110 alpacas by the end of this year. I'm a breeder, so I sell them. We do a lot with the fiber as well. The tour has been a blast, really. I think people have learned a lot. I think they've had a great time. So.
Everybody's that up. Yeah.
You should come by if you haven't been by. And everything's been by appointment. Only by appointment.
All stay, what does that mean?
Oh, I'm thinking more like I'm not looking for the Airbnb sort of flip a person through every night. That's not very interesting to me. It's actually, I think it's probably less interesting to them. I'm not trying to be a flop house, somebody come in and just kind of stay the night and split. I'm trying to offer more of an experience, an experience on a farm.
So it's that 1 week though, thing, try to.
Even I think what I'll do is I'm gonna offer a 2-night minimum. But I am looking for, I'd rather have 2 weeks out of every month, have it rented rather than have, a Friday here, a Saturday here. It's necessarily a quiet place. I'm a pretty private, quiet person. They aren't necessarily going to see me unless they want to see me. But at the same time, I just want to avoid all the things that people hate about short-term rentals because I also hate those things too. So.
But you, up to today, you haven't had this as a short-term rental,
No,
that you're applied to that.
I am applying to have, yes. It's also, honestly, an income opportunity. Tough here, Clean Ranch.
Obviously, it's nice that you had pictures of your fire extinguishers. Yes. Well, what I'd like to see is on the little map,
Yep.
if put a red dot on fire extinguisher, or put a little.
So it's funny because I just reached out to a graphic person this morning because I want to put those rules inside the door of the house and that kind of thing. And so I'll frame them, but I just talked to a graphic person this morning because my art there needs some work, obviously, so happy to do that.
And
We just replaced all the smoke detectors and, trying to sort of.
Just that fire extinguishers.
Mhm.
When somebody looks at this thing, the only thing they look at.
Well, hopefully they'll look at something a little bit nicer than that.
Right.
Right, so what I wanted her to do was give me a plan of the house that doesn't have all the sort of building detail on there. Like, here are the rooms, here's this.
Yeah, the pictures are nice, but just when I look at that map, there's fire extinguisher there, fire extinguisher there.
Yep, I will mention that to her. She's gonna work on that on Wednesday.
Bill,
I have a question for the office. There's 2 dwelling units in one building. How is that possible?
Because they're attached.
Is that the same building?
It's
the
it's
same
the
building.
same building. So it was an attached garage, so there's a breezeway between the main house and sort of the old garage. I've been using it as, 4,500 square feet in me, a dog and 5 cats. And so I'm just closing that breezeway.
Okay, just a
It would actually be considered a single structure.
okay. It is a single structure.
Yeah, so I just put a little refrigerator and a microwave on sort of my section.
See, there's a problem with that, isn't there? I understand what you're trying to do for everything, it's just. I don't know. How it is,
Well. And what I came up with is that if it's a single structure,
okay,
okay, so basically inside that structure. I mean, it makes no difference how many kitchens you have.
okay. Okay,
As long as it's inside that single structure.
okay. Now, what's the septic situation before and
I understand very much.
It,
There's, I guess, a 4-bedroom septic.
How
Right,
many bedrooms do you have in your?
so there'll be 3 available in the main house, and then I'm actually in non-conforming, I'm gonna have my bed in the attic of the garage space here.
so, okay.
What was that again? 3 bedrooms?
There are 3 bedrooms in the house and
And I stuck a bed in my,
it's gonna go over the garage, so that's the 4th bedroom.
yeah,
That's a 4-bedroom set.
there's a total of 3 bathrooms, 2 exist in the main house, and then there's 1 in the back of the garage. Which is not really a garage.
She does have 4 bedrooms.
You're off the quad.
I don't know how much I can say.
Okay.
I have a question. So. You say you're gonna close off the breezeway,
So there's a door there. Okay,
okay, between you and the
the
people.
main house, yep.
So to me, that makes it a second distance,
Oh,
a bunkhouse or a second residence.
Cause it's close, the breezeway is where we have the issue. The breezeway remains.
Well, it's not really,
Right.
it's the hallway that goes into the other room, basically.
Hallway, but there's a door, kind of separate. It separates it.
Is it a detached or
No,
it's an attached?
yeah, just completely attached, here's walls with the house. There's nothing really separate. It's just that I have a door that I can close that separates me from them.
So she's fine from a septic standpoint, she has enough space in her septic, that's fine. I would like to see if it's an attached garage, and that just makes an extension of your. If it's attached by a breezeway.
Yeah, I don't understand what the breezeway goes.
can I?
No, it's not, that's probably the wrong word, it's, go ahead, you've been in.
I was just, well, I've been in there, my best friend husband built the home. And so it is one big house. There's no separation. The door was there because they used to milk the cows. That's why, it's all attached as one big house.
Say the common roof.
Yes,
Common roof, shared walls,
yes,
Okay.
It would be different than that. Like hallway to a garage is 20 feet.
no,
Same thing. But that's one unit, it's not. If they're attached,
Well,
if they're attached. The hall,
Well, and that was one that we were addressing in the resolution.
we never got. Or we never,
We did, so I mean, if these have a common wall.
I. I was just fluctuating two living quarters, but Keith, you're right, you can have many kitchens in the house if you want to.
Right.
There's many bedrooms that your septic will support.
Right.
So, it's okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Or can they still have ABS or should they have more shiftless?
She, because she's occupying one of the bedrooms, it would be 6.
Kind of have to change the applications.
Let's on, I put that on there, actually, so. I think.
This is a.
This is just,
Program.
second. 378.
Oh, it says 4 and 8.
Or so,
So it should be four bedrooms of 6 people.
well, that said adequate sanitation for the doors project.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, so no, so we just limit the number of. Yes. The 6.
Same thing in your rule about fire stuff.
No, and it's funny that you said that because I mentioned it in person this morning. I wanna address like shooting off a gun. And I wanna address
Yeah.
fires. In other words, no, neither. Yeah, I'm not looking for that kind of environment. I don't, yeah.
Any further questions from the planning commission?
Do you plan on being there when we have someone renting there that we can, that we?
Can't go anywhere, got 160 animals outside to take care of, so yeah, I never leave. I mean, honestly, yeah, I'm in birthing season right now, I've got somebody at home in labor, so it's amazing that I'm standing here, actually. Yeah, I rarely,
Pack a lunch?
I rarely leave,
Okay.
no. It's the beauty of it in a way, I don't know if I would do a short-term rental if I wasn't there. In fact, I'm pretty sure.
Further from the planning commission?
I'll make a recommendation that we accept. That we make recommendations to the county commissioners to accept this.
There's law.
The reason is, I think there's no issue with anybody around the area saying there's not. Her layout of the one house, she got septic tank is sufficient. She's going to add, and I'll have two recommendations on two additions to that she has no shooting of guns in the area. And no fires be added to her rules.
And no wheelies from motorcycles or ATVs, that's another thing.
Which is another.
Yeah.
I want to have that.
Yeah, this is not party central.
Unless CVs.
Well. You had one yourself.
I had one, but I sold them.
As well.
I just had one side by side.
Yeah, but you use it in your work, right?
Seldom, that was why I sold it.
Oh,
Yeah.
So,
All I gotta do is clap the gate and everybody comes in.
That short-term rental, we don't do the 6 person. And do the third floor.
Yes.
Yeah, that's 4
Second.
They moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? We'll proceed to vote. Skip. Aye. There.
I.
Here, I'll go back to you for any reason.
because I think this, it has her acting together very well.
Thank you.
He's like he thought of all the rooms. It was a good opportunity. Yeah. Keeping together. Into her. Climber. Who lives on.
You should come for a tour.
There.
What I stated earlier.
Okay. Bill.
I am done. I think one important thing is she's gonna be living there with kids. And if she isn't there, the guests won't be there.
Sure.
I vote yes. I think it's a good opportunity to get people, people have the opportunity to see what ranch is.
It's interesting when you talk to people about
They realize that this is.
what their expectations are and what it really looks like. Is it interesting?
I vote yes.
Thank you.
I think the location's okay. It's already a heavy traffic road, so it's not bad traffic. And where she, I think if she's there all the time when the guests are there, then you should be happy.
Question, is your place dry or do you have water in it?
I'm dry. Yep. Come see my pasture.
Well, now, really, because this is little bit.
Yeah.
Number 4, you got the only top spot within the accident. What I would do in the rail rules is have what you're expecting of them. And sure, did they sign something when they do this?
I do have a waiver that I use for the tours. Yeah, and I can do that with the guests. I hadn't the thought.
I need a sign for it to be liked, so it needs to be liked.
Right.
And just look at your real rules.
Yeah.
Make it in expanding letters or bigger font, because 1 or 2% of people are gonna read that, because they're here to party, you're here
Right.
to see your animals, you're not here to sit inside.
Was another thing that I went over with the graphic person this morning is to move those things around. And the first expectation is to just, you are not, the pens are in the barn, so just keep them sort of in a priority list. I agree. I do have a simple waiver that I use for tours that I can easily use for guests, but they're not allowed.
And sit
you know.
there,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so motion carries.
I was just saying, since we put some additions onto your rental rules, when you get those two done, make sure that.
That was my question, actually. So should I bring them here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, make sure.
Send them
that
to-
you know, it's,
Just a comment. I would tell them that if they do anything to disturb the livestock, they can pack up.
Well, that would actually happen without, I wouldn't even warn them about that.
Well, you just have the right to kick them out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, nobody messes with the kids. Messes with the kids.
Thank you.
Okay. No hearing for short-term rental electrical community zone 4, top 48, Blue Mouse. Representatives from Bill.
Senator Tracy Bro. We own the house 686 on Matterhorn Circle in West Cliff. We would like to list that under Airbnb websites as a short-term rental. Our house, just so you're aware, our house is on 1100 County Road 323, and it sits directly east of the Blumenau property, so it's in complete direct line of sight. If we're able to get a short-term rental permit, the only way we would be listing this on the as available on the website would be under the condition that myself and my husband are there. So we wouldn't be renting it if one of us or both of us aren't there. Basically, we want to be able to do that. We want to be able to help alleviate any loud nonsense vacationers to the area, just to promote a peaceful, small, quiet neighborhood. That whole Matterhorn Circle area is pretty quiet. I mean, there's really not much traffic anyways, and so the one neighbors that are directly across from there, we're friends with. I've already spoken to them. They're fine with it, especially with that we're on site. If we're able to rent it. I like one of you had mentioned about, no ATVs or dirt bikes. So I want to add that to my list of rules. The neighbors that are directly across, from us, they do have an ATV, and when they're here, it's loud, it's kind of like in a whole little bowl area, so it echoes. So, I would list that on our rules that no ATV or dirt bikes are allowed. Any question?
Okay. Letters.
Yes. Hello, I received your note regarding the new brawl rental permit request. Here are my thoughts. I have checked with realtors, including my own and my attorney, and they have provided me with insight, as you will read below. I am in process of trying to sell my own property, which is right next to the proposed rental property. I am all for trying to help out a neighbor, but in this case, the approval of this permit could impact the sale of my property and the quality of my life there. If the fact that this property, which I assume will be an Airbnb type of endeavor, is discovered, a potential buyer may object and may decide not to purchase my property. In addition, these subdivisions are zoned for single-family residences. The zoning rules should remain this way. If a permit is issued now, there will be nothing stopping others from attempting to do the same in the future. Approving this permit would establish a precedent which could cause all kinds of problems for the current residents who in some cases have lived in this area for many decades. The issuance of this permit would be unfair to those who have bought property with the understanding that businesses would not be run from the subdivision they live in or any subdivisions in the surrounding areas. People renting a property have no ties to the community and in some cases have no reason to act in a manner that is respectful to neighbors. There have been many horror stories in the press regarding these types of properties and the people who rent them. Aside from the reasons stated above, the timing of this request could not have been worse for me. It is my hope that you will see the negative impact that this venture will have on me and the community surrounding this property, and will deny the request for this permit. James Levitt.
Can I make a statement to that? We've actually put a bid on that property. The gentleman that owns that property is, that's our land is adjacent to this property. And we put a bid in on that property.
And what will you do then?
Nothing, it's under, it's amount. I don't know how we'd have to be really creative to build anything. That's why he hasn't built anything on it already.
What is your house?
Not that I'm aware of. No, he's put a
It's just-
driveway. There's a driveway. There's a driveway in there and or the cabin or something.
It's like a pond.
Yeah, if there's a cabin, it's. Unless you're looking at something we have. But it's my understanding. We don't
Second letter.
drive.
We, the Blumenau Homeowners Association's filings 1 and 2 Board of Directors approve the request from the property at 686 Matterhorn Circle South, Westcliff, owned by Tim and Tracy Brawl as a VRBO. We will be in touch with the property owners as to our HOA STR requirements. Secretary Treasurer Tracy Terry. Blumenau Homeowners Association.
What's there? Number. Yeah, and it looks like a house in the driveway.
Nice.
And further letters.
No,
Comment.
It's not gonna done.
Planning commission. Yeah.
Where are the fire extinguishers? Will you have there?
I sent pictures in, but I don't have them. Rarely had mentioned to. So would you like me to mark that on the, I mean, I'm gonna put that up, that map of the house. And then So I can, on that, yeah, you're looking at there, Daryl, I can put, a little, a red star or something to say fire
What's
extinguisher.
red stars and that. Very well.
Okay,
It should be an international fire symbol, which you could use.
yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I also noticed. On the map, the escape routes,
Huh?
That's,
and I think it's something, whatever the colors or something, or something, does it come up?
yeah, you can't see those.
Oh,
That, take a look at it, that's what we got.
Maybe you had.
yeah, so I don't know, but it's
Well, we need
a better, it's right here, is it? Is the white one, but I need the last to see it, so I understand.
Further questions, plan information.
Have you ever rented this out prior to today?
No, you're not allowed.
Oh,
Bill,
do you think you'll be successful in buying the Lindbeck property?
I hope so. I hope so.
Have they have offers on it?
Not that I'm aware of. My husband saw it the other day and looked it up and shot him an offer. And that was last week. We haven't heard anything yet.
What was their asking price?
If it's the same one I'm thinking of, I want to say it was like, is it 5 acres? That looks like more than 5 acres, so that's what's concerning me. And it was like 65,000.
We said that.
Pardon? The pictures? This should be the fire extinguishers.
well,
So your septic is a 3-bedroom,
Correct.
you're gonna have the max of 6 people.
That's the max. Correct. Mhm.
Where do you live?
We're at 1100 County Road 323, which sits directly east of that property. And it's in direct line of sight of that house.
Okay. East.
Yeah, I mean, you can see
Yeah.
the entire house completely.
Is yours in blue? And.
I'll leave for the.
Ours is blue, yes.
You live where? Blue.
Yeah.
Well, that's the actual, that's, yeah,
Oh, okay, okay. Gotcha. And you'll only rent when you're in residence at your place,
yes, correct.
okay?
One or both.
The assessor site shows this Lindbeck property,
That's what I was just seeing her map.
James Peter Lindbeck.
Yeah, and I think it's the Frostman is who we put in a bid in on. But I didn't realize Limbrick, yeah, that's the house that's next to it.
Yeah, Lindbeck has got a house value
Yeah.
at $639,000 just for the house.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
we're
his
not-
total property assessment. is
Yeah, I
$790,000.
don't think that has anything.
I'm saying that he lives there. I'm saying he has a house that you were talking about, is there a house or is that a pond? That is,
It's
it's
a house. and it-
Mr. Lundberg's for sure. Right next to it.
Our house is in between that, though. Our property is in between his place. And the suggested Airbnb site, though. Can you see that?
Do you live in the blue place?
No, that would be the.
So
Yes, so this is Airbnb, this is live,
Yes.
we live right here. He's Lindbergh, so he's like way down the road, I mean, it's your sight, sound, in my opinion. Or-
Any further questions? for the- Bill,
I move we recommend. The county commissioners to approve this. VRBO application. And my reasons are, my main reason is. They're only going to rent it when they are in residence in their adjoining property.
we're here a second.
is there any exception or anything, any addition? Just
amount.
We can totally put that on there. I'm gonna add the no ATVs, and then 10 would be. No shooting of guns or fireworks. Okay, I know we said no fires.
No fires also.
I have that on there, and cigarette smoking only outside and extinguish in a provided ashtray.
You have no bugs and grass.
Yeah, that's what I said. Okay, so no shooting of guns. Or fireworks.
We got full on that, so
This will be full.
this will be full.
This was,
But this will only last till the end of the year. Yeah.
And then how do I do it? I refile like again?
no, you'll just renew.
Just renew, okay.
And it's cheaper,
Uh,
and we don't get to
you get your rest.
bitch at you unless
It's all good.
there's a problem.
Okay, there won't be a problem.
Okay. Any further discussion? We're in down vote.
Yeah, can you reiterate what? So,
We're adding
no shooting of
no
guns,
shooting of guns, no fireworks. No
no ATV.
ATVs.
What about UTVs?
I said, yeah, ATVs, dirt bikes or UTVs.
Alternate means of transportation.
Mm,
That's it.
It's too small. Yeah,
Okay,
that's still later.
you skip seconded it. Any further discussion?
How many acres is it?
6, Delano, 6 point something,
5.6.
yeah, 5.6.
We discussed. Minimum acre size for. And I think it's in our meeting, it was with. Right, okay, what did you decide?
That was 5, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
5 acres.
It was 5.66.
The only thing that I see here, there's going on, you don't all the land or not.
That's our plan.
I know, but I mean,
Oh,
if you get mad at yourself, you don't have to get mad at yourself.
exactly. Exactly. That's why we purchased the house. And that's exactly why we purchased it, because we didn't really want neighbors, so.
Okay. There's no further discussion. Call the vote. Darryl.
Yes. I think she surrounded herself with an STR. There's no neighbors throughout that except for herself. The additions that we had, no shooting guns, no open fires, no ATVs. We'll keep them down on the roads. And it shouldn't, I don't know how the other neighbors would be disturbed because of the road between them. Yes, they are. And she's been very, she hasn't rented this out before. So, and she probably could have, we've never known, but she's followed the rules. And that's very good. So.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, regulations, I still think that we should be putting these in subdivisions on small lots, that's, we don't have regulations to go against that, so. I have no grounds to vote in.
So you go back.
Sorry, vote in.
Thank you.
The default.
Good.
I think, the big, fire range, that, she'll be present with your husband, within the.
Good.
I, am, since they're going to be there to monitor it, I think that, as long as they're there, she can have guests, if they aren't there, she can't. So,
Don't have that as a stipulation.
sure,
You can't, I mean, we need to vote on this, then you would have to come back.
I go aye. Or reason that, yes, she's gonna be there, guests are staying. Number 2 is that the HOA has
Give them.
give them information to do this.
So. Okay, the motion carries. Now, do we want to? Add something to the conditions?
I really don't think we have to, because she has written on the application that she is the agent to take care of the stuff, so if she's not here, and she doesn't have an agent.
Right. Okay. Daryl, agree? Okay. Thank you.
Okay, motion carries.
The amended, do I just bring them into you or do I come back here again?
No, whether you to me.
Okay, got it.
So you need to make your amendments to your house rules.
Correct, we'll do. Awesome. And the map, yes. All right, thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, Stafford,
Hey, month of July, did pick up a bit for us, compared to last month. We had 15 septic inspections, 7 Ds, 7 special conferences, 15 compliance inspections. We did have 3 violation reviews, and we issued 1 septic contractors test. Overall for the month, we had 12 septic permits that we issued, 12 dwelling permits, 20 non-dwelling permits, so accessory buildings. So overall, excluding the septic permits, we're at 32 compared to 25 last year. So we are continuing our growth. Last month I wondered if it's slow. This month we were taking that back. Overall zoning permits issued so far this year, I'm just gonna give you the totals, so try to move forward. Our total zoning permits last year, we set it, we ended the year at 180. We are right now at 195 issues for the year. So we're exceeding where we were last year quite a bit. Overall, for our total income, last year we were at $205,037.10. This year we're at $465,958.90. So we're very, very happy. Wow. Those are zoning permits, zoning and septic permits. It includes the use tax and any other income. The use tax last year we were at $68.06. This year we're at $179,298.20.
So we actually have 2 coming in. Question, you haven't got an attorney yet for the county, right? Have there been any, on those violations that we've been having in the county, because there anything the attorneys are acting up on now? With the attorney? Could cease and desist or?
I have met with him on 1 occasion. And that conversation, we did have a little bit of preliminary conversation in email. I believe that he will be there to support me. He is new, and I have not jumped in and just much on my fault, on my side, and communicated with him as much as I could. Will it be like having, I think it's gonna take a while to get my responses back.
Wow. So he's not local.
His office is in Buffalo.
Oh, I thought it was peace.
So
It's kind of.
I think it's just change, and we gotta get used to the change, and him and I will work out those changes as we move forward. The one thing that I'm trying to work through with him right now is that we had talked about changing in a resolution to add in violations, to add, what do I want to say, what's the word? Fees or fines to any violations, depending on the severity. We had that on one of our workshops. I'm waiting on some clarification from him in regards to that.
Do you feel comfortable picking up the phone and calling?
I do. I think it's just gonna be a new
Oh,
process.
sure, yeah,
Different than what we've had before.
right,
Not bad, just.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for all of them, speak to me. Your input, especially that short term rental, also very helpful. You're helping me. I mean, you know something we don't know, or it's not written down here. We may not ask the question.
Raise your hand.
Yeah,
Okay,
We-
all right.
Plus, they have a planner who never give a report, rather than letting the applicant be the first guy up. I'd rather hear from the planning department first. And then award on the proposal.
Actually. And we haven't been doing this to make sure that all permits are up to date,
That's true.
Yes,
and we should be asking that.
Fire.
And we, you know, that's one thing that you can give us, that all permits are up to date. And
Well, she's worked with somebody on something and, you know, that stuff.
I mean, that would have taken care of our little house question.
yes,
Yes.
I think from history, from historical, from when Jackie was here, somehow that planning person was under the impression they couldn't speak. And I think that's crazy. I think that we need to know.
Well, I have no problem.
Yeah, but then, you know, to ask for permission and, you know, Jackie's the whole, you know, where was it?
I mean,
You know,
if you got something to say, everybody else doesn't even bother, they just say,
I shouldn't.
I have a bunch of.
Yeah, the short term rental comes to us, and they've been renting for 2 years and they never apply. It'd be something good to know before we start looking at it.
Well, and that brings the question up that I have down here. So if we have someone who has been renting. And we've addressed that issue, and then they turn around and apply, does that not keep them from applying for 1 year?
Let's see, our zoning resolution does not address it. So it does not. But it probably should. They have been renting. Basically illegally. You know, without a permit. Do you want to look, I mean, should they be under the 1 year limitation, just like if you.
Based on how we're doing. You know, and everything else, they know. Yeah, I think it's punishment, honestly, what it is, it's get it, right? Illegally, really. You think of the process, you know, the new person in the office, doesn't mean that you get away with it, and that's why you're gonna have to get away with it.
Because I had folks that. In addition to, you know, it said if they're denied. They cannot apply for a permit on that same property. That property cannot apply for a permit. For a year. Okay, I put in there, you know, I'd like to see if it's revoked, and probably if it's revoked. Or they have been operating a permit. I think it should be 2 to 3 years. So we can discuss that. You know, when we go back to our zoning resolution workshop.
You shouldn't get into what your defense that's out there. Is monitoring.
Right.
We don't have that. Monitor need that.
Right, but if we catch them,
She should have 2 people.
that's
Really
really,
should.
but if we catch them. And they're out of compliance, then there should be a pretty good penalty for it.
It should be, because that will deter other people going, oh my God, that's right.
That's the only deterrent we're gonna have.
More than likely, that's where the attorney's gonna be, more than likely, people are gonna go, who y'all, what are you gonna do for me, find me $100? Big deal.
Let me explain to you what's happening.
Okay.
Because I have 2 right now that I'm having issues with. What they're basically doing, so we revoked an STR recently. That particular STR is now posted on VRBO as long-term rental. I have neighbors who have pictures and evidence that then it's not long-term rentals, it's people coming and going still, just as said before. It makes it difficult to try to.
Because what they're doing is they're advertising off the road, and then they're getting that person to register, and they're calling above, and they're talking on the phone, can't monitor, that's what they're doing. That's an easy way to get around.
We don't have a fine structure. In place, and we can do it that.
Fremont County, and local people, their fine structure is 3 times the permit cost. If you start a project, well, then it's free.
There's this too.
Right, I mean, big deal, I mean. Well, if you hit somebody with 6,000. Think about it versus you hit it with 2 or 300.
It'd be 3 times, what's the permit cost?
It just depends.
There's no square footage.
If it's, they start.
To their farm.
Well, 700.
What?
700.
700, so it'd be
$20 million.
$2,100 plus $700.
But then they walk in the door and we tell them you can't, apply, you tell them that's January, or you know, it won't be considered till next January, and they turn around and they continue to rent,
Better.
that's not. They can make that one mistake. So that money, that's nothing to me.
And it's gonna keep happening until someone becomes the estate owner. And then we find them, attorney bills them, and that it's gonna happen until then,
Right.
till somebody gets their hands slapped.
But see, I'm not sure, we can have a fine structure. But I think according to the state regulations, that we have to go to court to enforce that fine.
Which we now have an attorney that should be able to do that.
And there, I'll be really honest with you, as many letters and issues, and I'm not just talking STRs. But we've probably mailed out 400 plus compliance issue letter, certified letters due to issues. 10% of them reply and fix their issue. There's no way one attorney even, let alone my office, can keep up with it. That's why when you go through somebody's property file, parcel files, some of them you see, or we've sent out multiple compliance letters to people.
Would you say go? Yeah.
You know, really. Supposed to say, two things, so. Several places going through and creating their own STR. One of the things we put in here, this may help you in the future. Is that every stay. They fill out a Google form on our website. And that information basically all says is who's staying there, car they drive, phone number, reach them, and who's registered agent for the local contact. And it gets sent to the town civil clerk and to the SO, to the sheriff's office. This for safety reasons, just so if there's an event, they can get a hold of people that are not from
So
here.
it's automatic.
It'll be an automatic thing, you just fill out the form on every stay. And then the other thing you do is, so since if someone's violating our zoning regulations, that's a code enforcement, right? Could we not employ the posse to check on those kind of things? For the sheriff's office?
They've got Boulder being the most strictest place to build. Custer County is probably the easiest place to get away with everything. And it's known like, it is known like, I can tell you, when I came here, it's like, oh, no, really. It's kind of what's said. Till somebody gets their hands slapped, or we start doing what he's talking about doing, Jimmy Mark, which I don't even know if we have enough time to do that. I mean, you're going to keep, this is going to keep happening.
Well, and what it may come down to is picking 1 or 2 instances. And pushing those, but we need to increase our fine structure first. And then take those through and get them, take them through court. But only pick 1 or 2.
You can't buy them all.
No, you're not gonna.
But 1 or 2 will scare the ones. It's kind of like, if you lock your doors, it's to keep the honest people out.
Right.
So that the honest people will still go touch the door to see that. thing.
Bill,
I move we go home. Oh,
So the one you mentioned, Dorothy, you know, it's not logical that somebody who's looking for a long-term tenant puts it on the area.
No. And I have that.
So that's, but I think it would be a good question to ask the sheriff if it's possible and would be willing to help anybody.
Get sheriff's.
I like it, of course, like. Code enforcement officer, which we don't really have, that becomes part of your figure, but maybe we need to think about having a code enforcement person. And maybe it starts from.
Not more complaining, he's talking about something that Google, everybody Googles this. And that's what you got to talk about, volunteer.
Question form, so it'll be on our website, on the Silver website. Anytime an SDR owner has someone stay, fill it out,
Yeah.
it's filled out, push submit, it goes to council, quickly goes to the sheriff's office, and so we're aware of the sheriff's office, they were.
And if they don't, what's the,
But if I'm doing it, either,
So we talk about. So they're doing illegal, unless we look at a zoning enforcement, I guess, would be code enforcement, the zoning over. And have it possibly go out and check it out. It's like, hey, it's just like, well, we find zoning codes. Can you confirm, we would have some Jew than us.
but on Monday morning, Tuesday, that force got to somebody so that they can, act upon it. I guess,
just so everybody knows, we will have most likely have a meeting next month. I will keep you updated. If we have one SUP that works right now, we are just decided to allow a local septic pump for development on this land. So as long as everything gets turned in time, we'll have that.
did you online, on land? This full application. No. Septic,
right.
yes. That's it.
there is a meeting. There is a meeting for that, this.
And that should be for.
License on the stairs. I'd say meeting.